sometimes we were speaking about this before as well. Sometimes we tend to blame the world for our mishaps, and sometimes we have to ask ourselves. Not sometimes. I would dare to say that all the times we have to ask ourselves, what am I contributing to this situation? What am I doing? It's for this situation to evolve in this way. It's not coming from a blame perspective. So I'm not advocating that we blame ourselves or we take the blame or for us to feel guilty. We were discussing about this before as well. But we take ownership and accountability of our actions. We realize that we might do things which affect others in a particular way, and they make them tick, and perhaps behave in other ways which make us tick in return. So we have to see what are we putting into the recipe that we are creating ourselves in. So if this kind of situation is happening between two people, it can be a friend or a partner, it's usually, it takes two to tango, right? So it's usually there's some fault from each party at times. Most of the times, I would say.
Yes, and the fault that, as we were saying before, you might not be even doing it intentionally.
Yes, for sure. It might be your nature.
Exactly.
And you might be aware of it and not aware of it at the same time.
Say it's just me.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why communication is very important. And it's not just to communicate. It's not. This is in English. This is very nice. In Maltese we don't have this verb. You would know. The hearing and listening. So when we communicate, it's important that we listen so that we can reason things out and take conscious action to make amends. It might not be perfect, so we're not a switch that we're going to change immediately, but at least we're trying to improve on that for the sake of the other person as well. So
it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way street.
It's going to have a double positive effect.
Yes. Yeah. And if we're just hearing the conversation, we're not internalizing anything. It stops there. We just heard it, and it went in from one ear and went out from the other one.
Exactly.
So it didn't really make sense. But we have to listen and make a conscious effort to improve upon that. And I'm not saying that we should change for others, and I'm not saying even to let ourselves be so malleable that we change for every situation. When we receive feedback, we have to sift through the feedback as well. We have to see what, as you said, we have to see and reflect on the feedback and ask ourselves, if I apply this feedback, will it lead me to the person that I want to be? If it's a yes, you apply. If it's a no, you derive the lessons on it or you discard it completely. So it depends. We have to sift.
Exactly. And you were mentioning just now that it's like it's good to see the glass half full.
Yeah.
And I agree fully that it doesn't mean like if you're in a bad situation or whatever, or there's a problem. It doesn't need to be by force an explosion.
Yeah.
A problem. The electricity's out. A problem.
Yeah.
It is important that although yes, let's keep moving, let's stay positive. At the same time, we have to acknowledge the situation, because otherwise we're going to become passive.
Yeah.
So one of the ways of remaining positive, you can actually be sad and remain positive, but look at the situation that you are in and say, like, okay, this is the situation that I am in. Can I control it? No, otherwise I wouldn't be in it. But I can work with it. And in that situation that you are in, when you are feeling a bit more clear-headed, because you don't need an answer
right away
immediately, you don't. In fact, it's better that you take a breather first, because you might end up moving or thinking impulsively. It's very healthy to work with the situation instead of avoiding and putting on the happy mask, because then we don't want to be fake. We want to be authentic. It's good to be authentic.
Even with ourselves.
Of course. So when you and then realize, like, okay, I am in this situation, how can I be positive? Which is difficult, because especially if it is a very disheartening situation, you're going to feel sad. I encourage you to feel your feelings. But what are my options? And just by asking, let me clarify it, what are my positive, healthy, good choice options? automatically, slowly, without realizing, you're going to start getting more positive. Why? Because you're moving towards a solution. A solution that's going to fix or amend or repair the situation that you are in. It doesn't mean that the problem is going to be 100% fixed, but you're either going to live differently or experience things differently. So just by at least having a plan, some options, some solutions, you can then start working towards that solution that you thought about, and slowly, you can start working on it while you're sad.
Yeah.
You know, but that subconsciously you're actually being hopeful.
Yeah.
You know?
The process is very uncomfortable,
It is.
but the result, I think it's very rewarding and worthwhile. The hassle and the hardship that you have to go through in order to arrive at that stage.
And if you really want to live a better life, it is you who has to take the decision to live a better life. Different situations, different circumstances, so different things apply. But ultimately, you have the power in you, you have the resilience in you, and you are worthy enough to decide that you want to live better.